Besides the obvious, okay, the cognitive decline, the inability to form a full sentence or articulate his thoughts, besides some of these major things, let's actually go a little bit deeper. Why would a party put up somebody so abysmal knowing that you have somebody like Trump on the other side? You guys get me? Like they knew this is how it had to go. Walter said colada. I do. Really do need that. Someone said I have a video. Oh, you're talking about where he's falling asleep? Man, that's crazy. I think if he doesn't show up, would be worse for them. Well, to be honest, that was kind of his strategy last year. If you guys remember, he never debated Trump until the very, very end, right? They ran the entire campaign from the basement, kind of kept him hidden away. But now Trump, I think, has the same playbook, which is never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. If you guys are watching this, welcome back to the Chart Addicts live stream. It's a bit of a different conversation today. We're going to be talking about more general news, presidential election recap, and a few things to watch out for going into next week. Before we jump right in, make sure to check out fxsummit2024.com. The deadline to grab your early bird tickets is July 4th. That's 5 days away, people. I don't know what you're waiting on because you know you're going to go and you know that you want to. You know you have friends going and you know that yesterday was payday and you know that there's really no reason why not to go. But you're still going to wait for the prices to double. Huh? Half off tickets to the FX Summit 2024 conference. Now, you don't know what the conference is, it's the number one event in the world for traders, investors, and entrepreneurs. So if you are a day trader, if you're interested in getting into investing, if you're trying to become a digital entrepreneur or already are an entrepreneur, this is where you want to be to get around thousands and thousands of other like-minded people, traders, entrepreneurs, investors, to get around people with investment capital that could potentially help your business, to get around people who are where you want to be in your life and you can potentially learn from them and follow their steps, have some great life-changing conversations. Going to be epic. So the event is split up into three main sections. There's seminars, which are panel discussions by some of the largest financial institutions in the world. We have an expo where you can come and connect with the largest brands, building technologies, new services, doing showcases and live reviews of their products. And then obviously just the networking aspect with the VIP events, just the regular sort of community events that happen in between. 5,000 people are coming to Dubai. Well, I mean, many thousands of them will already be in Dubai coming from their house. But we're going to be breaking 5,000 people for this year's conference. It will be the world's largest trading conference ever put on for retail traders. And if you guys want to come be a part of history for when the FX Summit officially broke to becoming the largest trading conference in the world, come out to this one. Let's make history together. We always remember that T-shirt that says FX Summit Dubai, and remembering that that was the event that really put the trading space in a completely new playing field. Because when you have the trading space next to all these already established brands like Binance, KuCoin, Kraken, Oanda, Forex.com, TD Ameritrade, like some of these big names, it gives us not just like legitimacy, because we're not trying to use their brand credibility to be able to leverage that. What we're doing is it gives us a new standard to reach for. If we're all in a free-for-all on social media, everybody who sells a course, has a program, is going to be doing whatever they think is going to make them the most money, right? Now, when you have live events like this and there's a standard that has been set because of the level of guests and the expectations of the audience, now the standard for what is acceptable has gone up. And that's how we keep raising the bar in the industry, is by trying our best to create an environment where the standard is high and people got to live up to that. So that's our mission. Connect thousands of traders from around the world to give people hope, education, inspiration, and connection, and also provide brands an opportunity not just to showcase their products, but to step up and be the version of themselves that they were really meant to be. Okay, we'd love to see you guys out there. You got 5 days left. Grab your tickets today. And we're doing random raffles between now and the summit. So you get put into a bucket, into a list. We're going to randomly select from the list, and then someone's going to get free upgrades. So we're going to be doing that throughout the next 3-4 months leading up to the summit. We have 124 days left, people. Summit is coming up quick. Howdy, Rich, C4, Cherikawi, Chris. What's up, everybody? Drop a like on the stream if you guys are watching this. Bob Elliott podcast drops today. For those of you guys watching this at home, before I go through the presidential election recap, let's take a look right here. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Does it get any easier than this? How do we find this entry? Breaker to the high. Body to wick. Members, put something in the chat if you see this. We had the Phase 1. We had Phase 2. We had Phase 3. How do we find the Phase 2 entry? Breaker to high. 886. Retest. Put something in the chat if that makes sense. There's only 2 responses here. I think if he doesn't show up, would be worse for them. I got mine the week after the Miami Summit, the workshops. So yeah. Okay, good stuff. Jensen, good morning. Bobby, good morning. Daryl, Dizzle. Let me see who we got in here. We got a full house. Bianca, good morning. Gio, good morning. Jensen, Mike Pineda, Big Mike. We got Roman and Walter. Let me go get some caffeine. Now, y'all on YouTube, let's get active here. Give me your take. Give me a 1 out of 10 on the presidential debate. What you guys thought before I cover news. Also, last note about the FX Summit. If you're a brand or a company that is trying to showcase at the summit, or you want to be represented at the summit, have a booth to connect your team, showcase your new product line, or just have a sponsorship and put your name next to Binance and everyone else, make sure to reach out to us as soon as possible. It's info@fxsummit2024.com, or you can go directly to the website, hit get involved, and register as soon as possible. And if you guys have a team or a community and you guys would like a deal on team tickets, reach out to us ASAP because we have those too. All right, we got 5 days left. I really don't want to have to tell someone, sorry, you missed the deadline, because there's going to be a lot of people saying, hey, I can't do it by the 4th. Can you extend it? If you tell us enough or ahead of time enough, we can make it work. If not, it's going to be tough, guys. Does Jonathan from Pit Traders PR was able to get a booth for the summit? He never asked. Well, I mean, if Jonathan wants a booth, by the way, Walter, great recommendation, man. That's how I know you keep a good circle around you. I texted the group chat and I was like, hey, anybody knows anyone in Puerto Rico? Tell them we're doing this free seminar. Like, Walter picked up the phone, texted his friend. Friend pulled up. Guy was real cool. That's how you know you have good friends around you. People that would recommend you to places like this and to events like this. They call him Slow Mo Joe. Finally, Roy here, dying to know what your thoughts are on that presidential debate, because the whole debate was almost on a level of Herschel Walker pulling out his toy badge. Yo, NPL FX came in swinging today. What do I think about the presidential debate? We were just talking about this with the team right before the YouTube started. What is the plan, okay, of a party or a team that would put Joe Biden as the president against Trump? What could possibly be their objective for doing something that stupid? Because for me, the way I was thinking it the whole time I was watching this recap, I was like, bro, it kind of seems like they want Trump to win. The only reason that why you would do this is if you wanted Trump to win, correct? Straight up. Like, who's going to guard LeBron James? If I put the rookie that doesn't really have that experience up there, or somebody who's just not fit, the only reason I would do something that stupid as a strategist, because strategists get paid for strategy. I'm not a professional strategist. I'm using common sense here. The only reason you would put up that shitty of a performance is if you wanted Trump to win, correct? Or if you were trying to get rid of Biden to prop up your new candidate. So what do you guys think? And let me ask some of you guys that are liberals here. First off, probably not many of you in here. Just based on the shit that I say all the time, I'm assuming I have slightly more of a conservative audience. What do you guys think? They want Trump to win, or do they want another candidate? And if they want another candidate, who was that person? Who the fuck could fill that role? It was comical. It was really a joke. America looks like a soap opera right now. I personally don't think it's funny. I honestly, honest to God, think it's sad. I think it was a test run to replace him later on in the year. That's why they had to debate so early. No teleprompter, just Joe on full display. Who would they replace him with? I heard Kamala. Let her finish off the rest of the term. Gavin Newsom would be the most obvious bet. There it is. Oh, another reminder, because the team let me know. If you guys haven't registered for the masterclass in July, this will be the final masterclass of the year. We're going to be doing the masterclass 2.0 for anyone who's already taken the class. There's another level to the strategy. Okay. There's a level of, well, first we can go through the continuation model. We can go real in depth in terms of false breaks versus genuine breaks, measuring the weekly ranges and assessing when volatility is opening versus closing, kind of getting bigger and wider. We can talk about futures, how to scale futures firms. We have a few very qualified people to talk about that. I know it's only been a few months, kind of 3 months going into futures. We have some folks that have been crushing it, especially in terms of connecting accounts and growing, et cetera. So we'd love to have them on to come and discuss what they see and kind of discuss how you can do the same thing on futures, get the same results. So the 2.0 masterclass, I think, is going to be huge for everyone who's already taken the class, because I wanted to go in depth, but without a solid foundation, I can't. And now that you guys have context, which means you've gone through enough experience to have seen it, now you have context. So when I teach you something, it's going to make sense. You'll be able to be like, oh, I've seen this before, and piece them together. All right. So this is going to be the final masterclass. The masterclass 1.0 is going to be the last one of the year. So if you guys have been wanting to learn this NASDAQ strategy, it's now or never. And then the NASDAQ 2.0, that's going to be, I believe, in August, if I'm not mistaken. We're still working that out. We might do it in July, but working that out. Yeah, 2.0, send link. Walter, I already got a, nah, don't do all that. Walter, I already have a seat with your name on it, with the reserved section on it. It's right there. And of course, if you guys are VIP members, you get access to these workshops. I told you guys the change we're making, where if you're a VIP member, you'll now have access to all the workshops. But if you're a VIP plus, you'll now have access to coaching. You get 1 or 2 coaching sessions a month, depending on your plan. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. So here's my final take on the presidential debate. We've been talking about this for 2 years. If anyone's shocked about Biden's cognitive decline, it's because they're fucking stupid, or they're delusional, or they're lying to us. I think that this entire corroborated effort to protect Joe Biden this entire time for the last 4 years has backfired completely on the Democrats. And I genuinely believe that the level of distrust is at an all-time high, where especially now, we all just watched the same debate objectively. And you still have people on, let's say, liberal news networks or just pundits or commentators saying that this was the best Joe Biden they'd ever seen. Their ability to keep the lie going, I think, is so disrespectful. And I honestly just think that it's treacherous to the American people. Okay. When Bernie Sanders had all that support way back in the 2016 election, they told him to stand down. They interfered there because they thought Clinton would be a better candidate. Joe Biden was going to run in 2016. They told him to stand down. Imagine Joe Biden ran. Probably could have beat Trump. Right? So they stifled Bernie. They stifled Biden in 2016. This year, they're getting in RFK's way. And so the failure to present a coherent candidate that actually has something substantial for the country is the downfall. And then this commitment to this lie that Biden's fine, his cognitive ability is better than it's ever been. He's as sharp as he's ever been. the commitment to that lie is now starting to seem more than just like, oh, they just want clicks. But they're all doing this on purpose. I understand the people in his government protecting him and his sanity and his mental health because that's their job. Right? If Biden's gone, so are all of them. And so everyone's just doing this to protect their kind of like their own little selfish needs, which is horrible. So I would say it's too, in my honest opinion, it's too late in the game to do a switcheroo, switch out the candidates, bring in a Gavin Newsom, a Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama. But after the performance we saw yesterday, I don't know a single person that hasn't made up their mind. I saw Bill Ackman, not a big fan of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman's the guy that is a hedge fund manager, but he typically does short selling on companies that he thinks are scams. He's the one that shorted Herbalife against Carl Icahn, didn't do too well. Famous story. Bill Ackman, usually wrong on a lot of things. I'm not a fan of Bill. Gets on Twitter yesterday talking about hands down, Trump won the debate. He said that Biden's an embarrassment to the country. He said the only reason Trump didn't get his work done is because they kept trying to hit him with that Russian collusion bullshit, which ended up being debunked because that Steele dossier that originally claimed that Trump was an agent of Russia was made up. And the guy who wrote the Steele dossier should go to jail. I think he already is in jail, right? So that was election interference there. But the entire presidency, they didn't let him build the wall. They kept trying to get in his way. He didn't have the same support in the House and the Senate that other presidents would have had because of how much shit he talked about everybody. So imagine you're trying to do your job, the hardest job in the world, during one of the most difficult times in the world, and then you have every single person in government trying to stop you or get in your way or rumors or something about you, right? That's a tough world. All right. Um, Perfect. Let's see if we have any questions here. I think it was a test run to replace him. Another level. Yeah, I need to get in there. It's absolutely not looking good for Biden. Dude is 81 and walks and sounds like he's 81. And as much I don't Trump on that seat, the odds he's definitely going to win. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think Bill Ackman presented a lot of other good points too, surprisingly enough. Bill, chances are you'll never see this until I blow up, and then people will clip these things out of context. Fan of your work, not of your statements. This dude was big on the COVID, mask up the kids and shit. Buddy was lost in the sauce. And Buddy was lost in the Trump derangement syndrome sauce for a long time. And then now he's finally starting to see it. So you have some of the most ardent, not supporters, but detractors of Trump starting to finally come around, realizing like, yeah, all the boogeyman things that we said about Trump, about him, starting nuclear war and all that stuff. Bitch, he was here for 4 years. There was no nuclear war, right? You're fucking stupid. Like, no, what if he does it again? And what if a meteor falls? Like, what if, right? We had 4 years, could have done it, right? Didn't do it. So I think that the lies they told about Trump were so egregious that once you give him an honest listen, you're like, wait, none of this shit is really true. He's a pretty moderate person until you attack him. If you attack him, then he's gonna hit you back. But then Biden's the other way around. They prop him up like he's the sharpest and he's in the best mental state he's ever been in. And then we see him on that fucking stage. And we're like, these people have just been lying to our face. Right? Think about how many people go out on social media and they say, I just had a meeting with Biden. I just met with Biden. I just saw the president. He's doing better than ever. He's sharper than he's ever been. 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, people were saying this shit. His donors. Like I had a 3 hour sit down with Biden at his house for dinner, and he's sharper than he's ever been. At 81 years old, sharper than he was 10 years ago. That's what we're playing. Reid Hoffman. That's what we're doing, Reid. So the uh, the willingness to destroy our country for selfish reasons and completely ignore reality and keep convincing yourself of this false reality, I think is a genuine threat to the country. And I don't know how else to say it without sounding hyperbolic, but like, fam, we have a case study of this 4 years versus the last four. We've seen economic productivity. Now, if we're going to talk about just the numbers on paper, unemployment rates, interest rates, inflation, GDP, on paper, Biden's presidency wasn't that bad. But we have to look at kind of the underlying circuit. So as an economist, that's where I start to ask the real questions. Is this correlation or causation? Is it because Biden is president that these numbers are doing well, or is it correlated? Like Biden is president and the economy did well, but they're not associated with each other. I think that the employment situation in America, Trump added a lot of new jobs, and then going into the Biden presidency, we used to talk about this every week, the JOLTS jobs report, right? The open labor statistics reports, which show you the amount of open jobs and a detailed breakdown of the people who voluntarily quit, people who were fired, new jobs that were created, etc. We had 12 million open jobs at one point, and we only had, I think, 7 or 8 million unemployed Americans. Okay, and the majority of those aren't actually looking for work. So that's called slack, right? There's a distance between your maximum production capacity as a country and your actual production. So we were kind of headed there. Since Biden took over, I believe the JOLTS open jobs numbers went from 12 million down to 7.9 or 8.1. So a loss of about 4 million jobs. Now, at first, on paper, you look at that and say, that means all those jobs got filled, right? No. We looked through the report, there was a lot of seasonality. So seasonal jobs come and go. There was a lot of turnover. Tech jobs sort of got off the market because there was a need to hire a lot of developers. ChatGPT came out 6-7 months later. They're not, the largest tech companies are not giving out the same offers that they were before for random introductory jobs and things. They're still there, but not to the same degree. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm trying to think about. So there's a seasonality effect. There was a lot of open jobs that were sort of inherited. There was that extra productivity just sitting around in the system. And I think it's still finding its way through. That's why the labor market is still strong, despite the fact that interest rates are high. Okay. The thing about this, the last thing I'll say about the economic policy, which is economic policy has a lagging effect, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, depending on the severity of the policy. And so whenever you're observing the reactions, like interest rates went down, but the markets are crashing, right? So you have to kind of realize that the market is a predictive mechanism. Okay, it's like markets, institutional players try to predict 8 months in advance or 6 months in advance. Predict being a pretty loose term, and so that's why you don't see institutions on these smaller timeframes. Now you might see a couple hedge funds who have strategies and day trading strategies, but I'm talking about market makers and all the rest. And banks. You're either higher time frame trading, so you're on the daily, weekly, monthly, because you're looking at the big picture. You want price to go from here to here. And then, sorry guys, I'm getting some very important texts. Okay, sorry about that. Markets predict 6 months, markets are a voting mechanism and they vote 6 months, 7 months in advance on what's going to happen. So if you see the markets have been very bullish since the beginning of the year, since the beginning of last year, even though we have not started the rate cuts, the market is betting on rate cuts in the next 6 to 8 months, correct? So that means we know it's coming. Now, on the other side, what are most traders going to do when the interest rates finally come? So I want to take a wild guess. What are most traders going to think is going to happen when they cut interest rates finally? And we have a big Fed pivot. What do you think most traders will do that day? Do you think Jerome Powell will get fired if Trump wins? And how do you think it would affect the markets? To be honest, I think Jerome Powell has been one of the most productive Fed chairmen. And the whole point of the Fed chairman's role is to build trust with the markets. When he says he's going to do something, He's got to do it. And if he says he will never do something, he can never do it. And I think Jerome Powell has been pretty good about communicating to not cause market stress. Excuse me. The economic situation is so tough that no Fed chairman is going to be able to solve it. I don't know if you guys know this, like Powell was trying to leave when his last term ended. And then Biden showed up and was like, "You're ready to serve your country again?" I'm gonna just give you guys a friendly piece of advice. If a president ever comes to you and asks you to serve your country, you can't say no. It's not a fucking question. Okay. So Powell got dragged back into that role. And I think he's very, very ready to leave. So whether Trump fires him or he voluntarily leaves, man, I don't think we can expect to see I don't think we can expect to see I don't know. I don't know if we can expect to see another person like Jerome ever again run the Fed. Because there's really three personalities that run the Fed. You have the professor, PhD, doctorate, economist guy. You have the oh my God. Excuse me, y'all. Let me get some caffeine too while we're talking. So you have your PhD, kind of your Ben Bernanke's, right? PhD in economics, you study market crises for a living, and the '08 crisis happens, and you're at the right place at the right time. You have traditional politicians slash bureaucrats who have a background in economy, but really they're just sort of like rubbing elbows with the right people. That's when you get like a Janet Yellen, okay, where in her younger years she was a pretty bright economist, but she has completely lost the plot. And as Treasury chairman or chairwoman, that scares the fuck out of me. And then third, you have the private market participant turned bureaucrat, which is Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell used to work for David Rubenstein's hedge fund in New York. So Jerome Powell has experience 20 years on Wall Street, 20 years on the buy side, sell side of investments, understanding what makes market participants happy versus not. All right, so who we're going to get next is going to be I'm pretty sure it's going to be a PhD economist type because we need someone boring. That's who I think that Trump will appoint. All right, y'all. So these are kind of some surface level coverages of what's happening right now. I did just want to get on with you guys and talk about the presidential election because that's something I did not get a chance to stream for. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys the same thing I tell my team. It doesn't matter who's president. Okay, I don't give a fuck if you put the fucking dancing lemur from Madagascar up there. I'm still gonna be doing me. I'm still gonna wake up every day. I'm still gonna do a morning routine so that no matter what the day brings me, I'm successful. I'm still gonna have a sense of direction for what I want out of my life. So I'm not aimlessly going by with whatever the social trends are. I'm working on my physical, my spiritual, my mental, and my financial capabilities every day in every way. So fuck all who's president. Fuck Trump and Biden. You for president. If you're listening to this, I'm writing your name on the fucking ballot. Put your name on the goddamn jersey. You're in charge of your family. You got to go to work and put food on the table, not the president. So regardless of what the circumstance is, regardless of who the fuck is in charge or what party affiliation you're in or whether you like the president or not, you have a responsibility to the people around you. And if you have no one around you or you're a piece of shit, you have a responsibility to your future self. You never hid something, like some money or something, and you find it later and you're like, yo, old boy fucking got me. You want to be doing that for yourself every day in every way. I plant seeds like a motherfucker. Okay? So that's how you judge the day, by the way. All of you guys should judge the day today by not by the fruits that you are able to harvest, but by the seeds that you are able to plant. Because that's what gets the work done. Don't sit there and say, what do I have? And how many berries do I have at the end of today? Because the same day you plant those seeds, not the same day you eat the fruit, correct? So every day, get to planting. And one day you'll turn around and you'll see a forest behind you. You might need some help picking up all those fruits off the ground. Okay? Take it easy, y'all. Happy, safe trading. Check out the link for the FX Summit. You got 4 or 5 days left. Don't miss out. I want to see every single person there. Discounted tickets until July 4th. Don't miss this. The final master class is also mid-July. So make sure to register. whenever you have a chance. I heard there won't be Social Security for our generation. By 2030, Social Security will have been depleted. The problem is that the service on our debt, like you guys know that when you have a debt, there's the interest and then there's the principal. The principal is what you owe, the interest is on top, the fee for borrowing the money, the cost of borrowing money. The interest expense for the United States by next year will be more than, like, will be in a deficit. It'll be more than the receipts of taxes that we get next year. Okay, by 2030, it will have completely flipped, which is that the interest expense on the debt that we pay every year will be more than our government budget. I'm not talking about Social Security, Medicare, military, all the spending that we have. I'm talking about just the interest on the fucking debt, not paying down the debt, just the interest on the debt to service it, to keep the game going, is going to be larger than the entire spending capacity of the US government. And that's why we printed a $1.6 trillion deficit this year, meaning we spent $1.6 trillion of money we did not have. And guess who's going to have to pick up that tab? Is it Joe Biden who's going to croak out in 2 years? No, it's our generation. Right? So fuck them all. Fuck everybody who messed the game up and handed us this piece of shit, this fucking burning trash bag dumpster fire. But watch us make the most of it. We're very capable generations here. Digitally native, had more access to information, quality knowledge than any generation in the past. And if you're lucky enough, you were born in that bridge generation where you grew up without the phones and you grew up with the phones. So you know what the world looks like. And we're really just seeing the world being fucked up left and right. So I believe in our generation's ability to pick things up and to make the world a better place. But my God, do we have a fucking road ahead of us. Okay. Where's the FX Summit? The FX Summit is at Festival City Arena in Dubai. And if I can just show you guys what Festival City Arena in Dubai looks like, because it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in Dubai. So the entire venue is in a mall, or sorry, it's not a mall, it's in a city. Festival City, Dubai. So there's a mall, shopping centers, food, attractions, everything in the same place, so that you don't really have to do a lot of travel. And that's why this location is so important to us. Full outdoor eating venues, there's water, there's everything that you could possibly need there. And then of course there's the arena itself, which is where we will be hosting the event. It's our first arena show, so I'm very excited, but it will not be our last. 2026, Madison Square Garden, still have that on the list, as long as New York doesn't go full commie. Okay. So it's going to be one of the most exciting events that's ever been put on for finance. The level of speakers we have is unreal. And just breaking that 5,000 number is so important. Because this is not a stock trading conference. We don't have the business to business connections. We don't have the industry 10 years in the game. We don't have a lot of the things that other trading conferences have. What we do have is that we're mostly focused on the trader. Okay, when you go to IFX Expo, it's businesses selling services to other businesses to take advantage of traders or help traders, right? But it's a little of both going on. You have Trade Tech FX, Forex Traders Summit. All these things have their own unique characteristics, but none of them are obsessed over the individual trader or investor, the person coming. I believe we are, because we're not putting, granted, there have been people on stage in the past that maybe don't have as much to offer, but we really do try to put people on stage that are building this stuff, not lower level guy number 318 at big name company. Okay, because the big name company is impressive, but this guy is an analyst, respectfully. We're talking to the people who are in the innovation departments. We're talking to the people who are the head of the European division at these largest crypto companies. We're talking to the folks who are like Pierce, the general manager of the Americas for TradingView. And so these aren't tomato cans on stage either. So now we have top level speakers. We have an unwavering commitment and focus on the trader himself and herself, because my goal is to give you guys a holistic view of what's happening and where the future of finance is going. The world is changing so fast. If you can hear it from the people who are building this shit, how they're building it, where it's going, and how you can make money, That's how you get rich over the next 3 to 5 years. Be at the right place at the right time. Be on the right platforms. Invest in the right coins. And the only way to do that is to get around the people who are building it. So happy weekend, brother, to everyone. Right back at you guys. Check out those links in the description. Happy and safe trading next week. I'll see you on the Sunday market outlook. The interest goes back to the Fed. No, it's whoever holds our debt. So there's a lot of ways that we print money. Mike, one of the ways that we do it is that the government can issue bonds. Say, hey, we're issuing $10 billion of new bonds. And then central banks around the world, private investors, everybody will buy up those bonds. Okay? Through Treasury Direct, by the way, if you guys ever wanted to buy bonds, you can go directly to the Treasury by going treasurydirect.gov, and you can buy bonds directly from the government here. Just a side note. But no, it goes to whoever owns our debt. Okay, so as those bonds mature, you have to pay back the original principal that the person invested plus whatever that premium is that you agreed on. And so whenever you guys hear about bonds, they'll tell you the 10-year rate for Treasury. Okay, what this means is that if you hold this bond for 10 years, if you buy this bond for 10 years, your yield is going to be 4.3% annually. And so you get paid more to hold bonds for a longer duration. And so whoever owns that debt, that's who we owe money to. China owns a lot of our debt, which is not good. So yeah. All right, y'all. Happy safe trading. I gotta go. Take it easy. Peace. Big ups. Can't believe I did that with no caffeine, y'all.